Hey guys, welcome back to BackPocketGameReviews, and today we're going to talk about the Nintendo Switch and what a lot of developers have been saying about it. A lot of what's been kind of going on is a lot of people have said that it's underpowered, specifically developers or people that just aren't satisfied with where they thought the console should have been. So, keep in mind, most of the people voicing this specific concern are developers. And I kind of want to talk about this. So I have my Switch right here. I absolutely love my Switch. A lot of you already know that I've praised this thing on numerous occasions. If Nintendo weren't such a stickler about copyright claims, I would probably stream it from it. But yeah, Nintendo really likes their copyright claims. I'm going to set that back here for a minute. So a lot of developers are saying, I wish Nintendo would have went after more power. But I really kind of want to point out, I think that the era we're living in, a part of the problem that we're running into is you run into all these developers that are saying, oh, we need more power, we need more power, we need more power. And you see a lot of consoles that come out with more power, such as the PS4 Pro or the Xbox One X. And a lot of it, while it's getting tapped graphically, isn't getting tapped to really innovate the game. It's not like you're getting some intense new AI out of it. And there's still ways to be very innovative when it comes to not having graphical power. You look at some of the indie titles that have come to the Switch, and they have completely just flourished. You have Shantae, Half Genie Hero on there. You have a bunch of Fast RMX. You have Snipper Clips. There have been a lot of indie smaller titles that don't need a lot of power and have just taken right off. But when we look at the power of what this does have, so, I'm running a game that ran on the Wii U or just recently got ported over to the Xbox and all that stuff. So this guy is about as powerful as an Xbox 360, probably a little bit more so, because the Wii U is technically more powerful than the 360, but this guy is a little bit more so. You look at ARMS, another awesome game. It's a really good fighter game. You got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, again, a Wii U port, and it actually looks and runs better on the Switch. You got Zelda Breath of the Wild, again, came out for the Wii U and the Switch. It looks and runs better on the Switch. And then you've also got 1-2 Switch. This is actually a pretty fun party game. I know that I hesitated on doing a review for it. A lot of it was because I didn't get to get very far into it, and I've played it a lot with my kids, and it is a fun game. It is a fun drinking game, and it is a fun game to play with your children. But it's not like the Switch has like some measly little library either. Especially if you're someone who likes RPGs. You have Disgaea out on there right now. And you have a pretty good wealth of content. But it kind of bothered me too, because when you think about, oh, I wish it had more power, I can take this with me and dock it as a console. We're not at like a point of where it doesn't look good. By any means, if you put in a Switch game, no one's going to come along and go, oh, those graphics don't look good. It's the same concept with the original Xbox One. Its graphics don't look bad. Even with the 360, the graphics don't look bad. We're at a certain point where graphically we're not where we used to be, where you can see like all these polygons and stuff looks a lot more realistic than it used to. But it really shocked me to see all these developers saying that. There were like 3 developers that voiced it very vocally, saying that we wish Nintendo would have sought after more power on this. But then you also got to kind of keep in mind too, power doesn't instantly make games fun. Just because I have more graphical power on a console doesn't change the gameplay or make my gameplay all that much more groundbreaking. But all of these developers are so in this mindset of, we need better graphics. It's not all about the graphics. A lot of it comes down to the gameplay. And a big thing when I was kind of thinking about how I wanted to talk about this video, or the points that I wanted to make, is this guy's graphics suck. I mean, there's nothing about my 3DS's graphics where I'd be like, oh my god, I'm completely blown away by the 3DS. That game just looks gorgeous on the 3DS. But look how well it sold. Look how incredibly well it sold. And then look at the incredible game library that it has on it. Now, keep in mind, yeah, so I'm playing Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask 3D. Those are N64 clones, or ports. Star Fox 64 3D, again, another N64 port. But then you've got Pokemon X, you've got Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds, which is essentially just a slightly touched up Super Nintendo game. Yet it was one of the best-selling games. Innovation doesn't have to come from just all this graphical power, and I don't know why we're so in the mindset that graphics mean everything. Graphics don't make gameplay. So, by no means do I ever pick up my Switch and go, oh man, I really wish Nintendo would have put some more power in this guy. No, I think Nintendo did a fantastic job on the overall quality of the hardware, on the overall quality of the gameplay, and that's always been a big thing with Nintendo. A lot of you know I am a very big Nintendo fan. It's kind of where I grew up and where a lot of gaming took off for me. My first console was a Nintendo, an original Nintendo. It was the NES. My second console was a Sega Genesis, and as much as I loved my Sega Genesis, my N64 was really where gaming took off for me. Like, that was when it became that big of a hobby for me. So it's just really weird, though, to see all of these people that are just so intent on graphics all being the way of the future. And you look at a lot of different little smaller projects like the PS Vita, where the PS Vita did have superior graphics to the 3DS. By all means, the Vita was way superior to the 3DS when it comes to handhelds. But when you look at the game lineup, the 3DS has a much better game lineup. I mean, you've got new Yoshi's Island on here, which was incredible. I get a lot of people didn't like it. You're being too picky. Oh, it's just like the old ones. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Thanks. That's why I wanted a sequel. Paper Mario, Sticker Star, Harvest Moon, A New Beginning. I mean, there's such a wealth of games that came to this. You can even play Snake Eater on this. I'm really sad they didn't give you Metal Gear Solid 2 as well in the original. They should have done like a bundle port. Sort of like they did where you get the Metal Gear Solid collection for the PS Vita. That would have been pretty sweet. I would have been pretty cool with that. But it's just, I don't think graphics should be where our big focus is. Let's improve gameplay. It doesn't have to be all about graphics. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure that some of the companies that are complaining about this, which we won't say any names, we'll leave that alone. I'm sure a lot of them just aren't very creative companies, or maybe even their creative juices are just stalling because they just want to make a new Assassin's Creed that looks very reskinned and touched up. Or maybe they want to remake the same Mirror's Edge game and lose sight of what made fans actually love the game just so they could add some new pretty visuals. So the point I'm making here is power isn't necessarily going to fix every issue that you have in the gaming industry. Just because the new Assassin's Creed looks nicer doesn't mean it is better than this older one, such as Brotherhood's. So, as I said, a lot of you know where I was probably going to stand on this at the very beginning of the video. I'm sure a lot of you weren't shocked with the stance that I took, but I love my Switch. I think it's an incredible console. I think the fact that I can pack it up and then easily stick this inside of my backpack and then pop out its kickstand and pop off the controllers and essentially be playing Mario Kart 2-player right there with another friend without a television or another console is pretty impressive. Or the fact that if they have a console, we can just sit there and play together. But then I can also dock it when I get home and still get those console quality graphics that I'm not going to get out of the handheld. And I'll tell you this, it has a 720p screen when it's on the go. 720p is still a very high resolution when something is this close to your face. I was really shocked to hear the way everyone went about that, and I was really shocked to hear that out of developers, especially when I'm always someone who's very, making a game is an art. Like, that is a true art form. Then you get to some of the larger companies, and they show why that's no longer an art form. It's just like making a movie sequel to them. It's systematic, like almost like they have to, a part of their regimen. But you can make the same graphics from the last 2 years' games and still have me want to buy it if your gameplay is fun, if you're able to make that game worthwhile to me. And that's always been a thing Nintendo focuses on, is Nintendo doesn't have half the bugs that most of these other games have. They release a very pristine product. So, I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below how you guys felt about that. I'm sure a lot of you already saw this before I ever even talked about it. But I really wanted to touch on it ever since everyone else started mentioning it. And no one has come to the defense of it either, which kind of bothered me. But guys, thanks for watching. Stick around. I'll have plenty more content coming for you. And we'll see you soon, guys.